All right, listen up, future security analysts. Your intensive briefing starts right now.
So, you've been hitting the books, grinding away, and you think you're ready to tackle that Security Plus exam and land your first gig, right? Okay, let me just stop you right there. I need to be crystal clear about this. A certification without a rock-solid practical foundation, it's completely useless in the real world.
So forget about the exam for a second. Right now, we are building the non-negotiable bedrock skills you absolutely need before you even think about booking that test. This is ground zero.
Let's talk about your new home base, the core stack, OS, and networking. And let me tell you, it is not what you're used to. Forget about clicking on shiny icons. We're starting with the command line, the absolute heart of how these systems talk to each other. Look, if you think using Linux is just about pointing and clicking on a pretty desktop, you need a serious reality check. As an analyst, you live in the terminal. You have to master the command line, be able to navigate file systems blindfolded, change permissions on the fly, and track every single process. That is the job. Okay, so to get started, you're going to need two key environments. First, get Ubuntu up and running. Think of this as your stable daily driver. It's where you build your tools. Then you're going to set up Kali Linux in a virtual machine. This is your lab, your sparring ring. It's where you can safely learn and practice with the tools of the trade. Now, let's get to a fundamental truth of this entire field. TCP/IP is the language of the internet. You can't analyze a threat if you don't understand the conversation between machines. It's not just some theory from a textbook, it is the language of every single attack, every data breach, and every incident you will ever investigate. Fluency is mandatory.
So, how do you get fluent in that language? You use Wireshark. Think of it as your microscope for the network. It shows you the ground truth. It doesn't lie. You get to see the raw data, every single packet moving across the wire. Mastering this tool is absolutely 100% critical.
All right, picture this. An alert goes off. A suspicious log entry pops up on your screen. What is your immediate action plan? What's the drill? Step 1. Identify the source and destination IP addresses. Who's talking to whom? Step 2. Check the port number. What service are they using? Steps 3. Analyze the packet's payload. That's the actual data being sent. Look for malicious signatures, weird behavior. This needs to be a 30-second drill. Practice it until it's muscle memory.
All right, moving on, section 2. Knowing all that theory is great, but it's not enough. We have to turn theory into action. It's time to weaponize your Python skills for defense. Okay, take a look at this. It's a single log line, and it's showing a potential session hijack. Now, I want you to imagine 10,000 of these lines, or 1,000,000, trying to find the real threat in that haystack by hand. It's impossible. It's a complete waste of your time. This is where you get smart. This is where you become efficient. With a simple Python script, you can automate the entire hunt. We're talking basic string matching here, just searching for specific text patterns, but it will rip through thousands of log lines in seconds and pull out the exact indicators you're looking for.
And here's the most important part. Your script doesn't just find something interesting. It gives you an immediate actionable result. It takes a giant mountain of noise and turns it into a crystal clear signal that says, look here.
And you know what? We can take this even further into proactive defense. There's a Python library called Scapy that lets you build your own network packets from scratch. Why is that cool? Because it means you can simulate traffic, you can test your firewall rules, and you can really, truly understand how different attacks would behave on your own network. Okay, section 3, threat intel. To effectively defend any system, you have to get your head around two things. 1, how to protect its data, and 2, how an attacker sees it from the outside looking in.
Let's break down encryption and make it super simple. Think of symmetric encryption, like the single password you use for your encrypted hard drive. You use one key to lock it, and you use that same key to unlock it. Easy. Now, asymmetric is different. That's like the public and private key pair you use for secure SSH access. One key encrypts the data, and a totally different separate key decrypts it. You have to know the difference.
Okay, we've talked a lot about defense. Now it's time to switch hats. Let's start looking at your network the way an attacker does.
An adversary is going to do these 3 things right off the bat. First, they'll use a tool, probably Nmap, to discover which hosts on your network are even active, which machines are turned on. Second, they'll scan those active hosts for any open ports. And third, they'll start poking at those open ports to figure out the exact services and software versions that are running. This becomes their roadmap right into your systems. All right, let's talk about the web attack playbook. First up, authentication flaws. This is where an attacker might just bypass your login screen entirely. Then you've got cross-site scripting, or XSS. That lets them inject malicious code into your website that then attacks your users. And then there's the big one, SQL injection. Get this wrong and an attacker could dump your entire user database. Seriously, if you understand these three, you understand 90% of what goes wrong with web security. Okay, final section, mission ready. You've built the skills, you've practiced the drills. Now you have to package all of this for the job market. You have to prove you can do the work.
Listen to me on this. Your GitHub portfolio is your resume, and it needs 2 mission-critical projects. First, that Python log parser we just talked about. This proves you can automate analysis. Second, an automated port scanner. This proves you get network discovery and reconnaissance. Seriously, just these 2 projects will make you stand out from the crowd.
And you see, now we're finally back to that certification. This entire skill set, everything we've just covered, is the mandatory prep work you need. Passing the Security Plus exam is just the natural result of doing all this work. It's the key that gets your resume past the automated HR filters and lands you in the interview chair for a Tier 1 SOC analyst role. All right, the briefing is over. All this information, these tools, these techniques, this is your new starting line. The only question left is, are you ready to get to work